So one of the best roles in Red Dead Online to make cash, gold, and XP for sure is the Bounty Hunter role, and this is great especially for beginners. So today I wanted to give a guide on how to get started with the role as well as how it works, some tips and tricks, and more. Now I do want to mention that currently when I'm recording this video, Rockstar has a bonus on the Bounty Hunter role, so just know that the payouts may be a little bit different when you watch the video. So hopefully you guys will enjoy, and if you guys want to see more guides, then make sure to be subscribed and put on post notifications, and don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. So the Bounty Hunter role should be unlocked for you once you complete the Red Dead Online intro, and to get started with it, you just have to head over to the town of Rhodes and you should see this icon. Now once you head there, a cutscene should begin, and after that you can purchase the Bounty Hunter role. Now currently it is 15 gold bars, but Rockstar does occasionally have some discounts on it, so like usually at 5 gold bars off. And also if you do have Prime Gaming, you can get 5 free gold bars. But either way, this is definitely the role that a lot of people definitely should start with if you're new to Red Dead Online, because it's going to make you the most amount of gold as well as money. Now if you don't have that much gold to purchase this role, the best thing to do for sure would be to participate in call to arms as well as do stranger missions, and really any other mission that you see gives you gold is the way to go for sure. I'd highly recommend not buying any gold bars from the Rockstar store. That is definitely the biggest waste of money probably in Red Dead Online. So stick to doing stranger missions as well as call to arms, grind it as much as you can, and that's the way to for sure go. And if you see any gold bar opportunities from like treasure maps and other stuff like that, definitely take advantage of it for you guys can get some easy gold. And once you do end up purchasing the Bounty Hunter license, you can get started with the Bounty Hunter role. And from there you can get started with the regular bounties as well as legendary bounties too. Now there's also an option to purchase the prestigious Bounty Hunter license, which is basically the same thing as the regular Bounty Hunter license, but it adds 10 more ranks to the role and it gives you the opportunity to do the infamous bounties. Honestly, I would not focus on the prestigious Bounty Hunter license, even though it can be sort of useful in a way. It's not really that important, especially if you're a beginner. Now if you do want to end up buying it, it is a total of 15 gold bars, but for this month of December 2022, Rockstar is giving a discount of 10 gold bars off, so you can get it for actually only 5 gold bars. And like I mentioned earlier, if you do have Prime Gaming, you do get 5 free gold bars, so really you can get this role for free. So it's really up to you, and I would say if you're watching this video during this current event period, this is something that you might want to get even if you're a beginner. So if you can this month, for sure buy the regular license and the prestigious Bounty Hunter license. But if you're watching when the prestigious Bounty Hunter license is not on discount, then I'll probably say focus on the regular Bounty Hunter license now, and then eventually in the future you can get the prestigious one. Now let's first talk about the regular bounties, which are the ones on the board. So really overall the missions are pretty similar. You pretty much just go to a location and capture a bounty and bring it back. Some missions are a little bit different, but really overall you're doing the same exact thing. So most of the missions start off with you getting a location on your map. You head over there, and sometimes this person could be surrounded by a lot of enemies and you have to take them out. And then eventually once you get rid of all the enemies protecting that bounty, you hog tie them and then you put them on your horse, or you can put them on the Bounty Hunter wagon, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. There's also other times where we don't have the exact location of bounties, but we do have the general area, and then you have to use clues and other stuff that you see around in order to find the bounty. Overall, these type of missions are pretty simple, but it can take some time. But overall, if you use Eagle Eye and follow the trails correctly, it should be really easy to find these targets. There's even a little like trick, I guess, where you can actually find them easier. So really what you got to do is just get any gun that has a scope on it and pretty much just do like a 360 with the gun with the scope out, and just look around until the bounty pops up on your map. That's really the easiest way to find a bounty when it comes to this type of mission. But it doesn't work all the time, so it's really up to you. But if you are a beginner, I'll probably just stick with the regular like clues and just finding the targets that way. Now there's also another mission type where pretty much the bounty target is on its way to a special location, which could be like a fort or just some type of like area of houses. And from those missions, it's really easy as long as you get there before the bounty reaches its location. All you gotta do is just get rid of the few people that are protecting the bounty, and then you could just hog tie them and get out of there. So that's probably the easiest mission type out of all of them. So that's overall the 3 different types of missions that will happen when it comes to the regular bounties. And something big that you guys have to know for sure is when it comes to the payouts. So you will see for all of the regular bounties that they have different dollar signs. So one of them could have like $1 sign, the other one could have 2, and the other one could have 3. Of course, the one with $3 signs is the one that's going to pay more, and that's the one that I think everybody should always go for, because obviously we want the best payouts. Now some regular bounties of course will also have more than one person on it. Now usually if you're going to go after more than one person, I would say do it with a friend, because it's just going to make it a lot more easier and quicker. Now the thing is, if you do it yourself, you can actually get, 2, 4, 6 people, but you kind of have to have a lot of practice. I would not recommend getting like 2, 4, or 6 people if you're a beginner, but it definitely is possible. Now this is kind of where the Bounty Hunter wagon is going to come into play. if you are a solo player, because this is going to help you out a lot, because you cannot put more than one person on your horse, and dragging one of the people will actually end up killing them, and going back and forth is just going to waste a lot of time. So this is why the bounty hunter wagon, or one of the reasons why the bounty hunter wagon is in Red Dead Online. Now something to definitely take a look at for sure is the bounty hunter role sort of pass, and to do that, head over to the menu and then go to progress and then roles and then select bounty hunter. From there you can see all the different ranks, and if you do have the regular bounty hunter license, you'll see up to 20 ranks, and if you have the prestigious, you'll see up to 30 ranks. Really overall, when it comes to the bounty hunter role, the main things in this pass is the bounty wagon and the reinforced lasso. So we'll talk a little bit about the bounty hunter wagon in a second. Before the reinforced lasso, it basically makes it so that the enemies or bounties cannot get out of the lasso, at least that easily, and it just makes it a lot more harder for them. Now this is actually unlocked at rank 1, and it's $350 and also 1 roll token, and you do consistently get roll tokens pretty much every single time that you level up, and you're going to see that in the top right corner next to your gold and cash. So the reinforced lasso is definitely something that I would highly recommend getting. It's not something that you have to get from like, the start, but eventually once you have enough, definitely I would recommend investing in that. Now when it comes to the bounty wagon, it is available at rank 10 and it's $875. And this wagon is extremely useful for multiple reasons. First off, you could put multiple bounties in the back of this wagon, and there is no way for them to escape. And this can be extremely useful, especially if you're doing a solo and you decide to get multiple targets. You could just place all of them in the back of this wagon. Or if you're doing it with somebody else and you just have a lot of targets that can't fit on your horse, or if you just want to make it easier in life, really overall, you could just put as many targets as you want in the back. Another thing, like I mentioned earlier, is again that they cannot escape. If you have bounties on your horse, or if you drag them by your lasso, they can eventually escape if you do leave them. But if they're in the back of the wagon, there is no way for them to escape at all, which is also something that is very useful. Now I do want to mention though, for this current event, the bounty hunter wagon is 50% off, so you can get it for a lot more cheaper. So overall, when it comes to the regular bounties in Red Dead Online, they're a great way to start off and just overall make some quick cash and gold. And then when it comes to the payouts, like I said earlier, it does matter on the amount of dollar signs. So if it has 3, that pays the most, and if it has 1, it pays the least. And then also how long you take on each of the missions does matter as well. So for regular bounties, there's actually a timer at the top, and the faster that you take to do one of these bounty missions gives you less money, but the longer that you take actually gives you the most amount of money. So this is pretty much the same thing for almost everything in Red Dead Online, and the same thing goes for stranger missions and a lot of the other things as well. So I'd recommend take your time when it comes to these bounty missions, and to get the maximum amount of money for regular bounties is to drop off the target as soon as it has 30 seconds remaining, and that's when the timer at the top turns red. So as long as you drop it within that 30-second window, you're going to get the max payout for regular bounties. If you drop it before, you do get less money, so it's really up to you on what you want to do. If you just want to grind a bunch and you don't feel like waiting, that's up to you, but I recommend every time, if you got the time, to definitely wait until the 30 seconds timer does show up and then drop off the bounty. Now something else that matters about your payouts is if the bounty is dead or alive. So if the bounty is alive when you deliver them, you do actually get a lot more money out of it, and that's where you get the max amount of payouts. If the bounty is dead, however, you do get a lot less money, and overall I would say if you end up killing the bounty by accident, just deliver the bounty and don't even wait, because you're really not going to get that much money out of it. So the main thing for sure though is if you're ever doing a bounty mission, always make sure to try your best to keep the bounty alive, and pretty much that should happen every time. I know sometimes you can make a mistake by accidentally killing them or running them over, or something ends up happening, but I would just say try your best every time to always make sure that the bounty goes back alive, or else your payouts is pretty much going to be garbage. Now I do want to quickly mention a little bit about infamous bounties. Infamous bounties are pretty much the same thing as the regular bounties, but they do pay slightly more, but again, you do need the prestigious bounty hunter license to unlock them. Infamous bounties also kind of have like multiple different parts. So usually for like infamous bounties, there could be like 3 people on the board on one poster, and then there's like 3 different missions for one poster. So again, they're not that much different from the regular bounties, and again, there's not really a point of doing it, especially if you're a beginner. So I'd stick to regular bounties and also legendary bounties when you're new, and then eventually you can get into famous bounties a little bit later. Now I will leave a link in the description to a guide I made on the famous bounties and the prestigious bounty hunter license when they first came out, so if you guys want to check that out, it will be in the description. Now let's move on to legendary bounties, which is where you're going to make the most amount of money in Red Dead Online. So I gotta say again, this month there's actually a bonus on legendary bounties of triple money, gold, and XP, so the payouts are going to be a lot. But on a regular basis though, it's going to be around like $225. Now, just like pretty much everything else in Red Dead Online, it doesn't matter how long you take. If you want to get the max amount of payout, you're going to have to wait 30 minutes for legendary bounties. And again, that's going to be the $225. Anything less than 30 minutes is going to be around like 150 to like 200, depending on how long you do wait. So I'd recommend every single time probably to wait at least 30 minutes if you want to get the best payouts. For this month though, you're going to get around like $600 to $700 for the legendary bounties. Now when it comes to actually getting started with the legendary bounties, it's the exact same place as the regular bounties, but instead you click whatever button it says to begin legendary bounties at the bottom right. So there's of course a lot to choose from. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are annoying, some of them are completely trash. Honestly, I would say the best ones to choose from is probably Edadoya or Red Ben Clemson. Now you're also going to see at the bottom of these bounties that there's different like star levels, and these are the difficulties of the mission. So if you want to get the max amount of difficulty, which is actually going to give you more money and the max payouts, you're going to have to do this mission at least 5 times, and that goes for each and every bounty. The payout's not going to be completely trash if you're doing it on a 1-star, but if you want to get the best payouts, definitely do this mission as many times as you can to get to the max level, which is going to make it harder, but it's not going to be that bad. And of course, you're getting a benefit out of it, which is more money, gold, and XP. So before you even get started with legendary bounties, here's a little chart on which ones pay the most and which ones pay the least. Again, like I said earlier, going for Red Ben Clemson and also Edadoya is probably the best way to go since they pay the most, and also their missions aren't too bad. There's other ones that you could choose from, and they're really up to you. I would probably say take a look at a video, or if you want to play yourself to know which ones that you're going to like and which ones you're not. But I would highly recommend going with Edadoya or Red Ben Clemson because they're the easiest, the quickest to get done, and also of course the payouts is probably the best with them. So when it comes to Edadoya and Red Ben Clemson, their missions are not too different. The only big difference really is that the fact that Edadoya is one person and Red Ben Clemson actually has himself and the gang, so it could be slightly more difficult. So this is really when it comes to you as a person. So for Edadoya, the mission is actually kind of boring because you're really just waiting for her most of the time, and then you capture her and then you deliver her. So it's really simple, straightforward, and that's how you get that mission done. And I'm going to show you guys as well. But when it comes to Red Ben Clemson though, it's a lot more difficult because he's on a moving train. So you have to first catch up to the train, get onto the train and shoot down the enemies, and then capture the gang and then deliver them to the station. So the thing is, they're really both easy, but when it comes to Red Ben Clemson, it's just more fun, interactive, and entertaining. So it could depend on the mood that you're on, or if you just really don't care at all. So it's up to you which one you want to do. But if you just want to keep it simple, go for Edadoya. But if you want more fun and just more entertainment, then I'll definitely say go for Red Ben Clemson. They're both amazing and great missions to have fun with. So I'm gonna go with Edadoya for this one. So to get started, after the cutscene, just head over to this location right here on the map. It should pretty much be like right in front of you, and you're just gonna hide until you hear Edadoya say something along the lines of like, oh, this is a setup where we got to get out of here. And this is when she's gonna start running. Now the thing was with Edadoya, it's a little bit like weird because she has like a bunch of clones of herself, so it's like you got to find out which one's the right one. But once you get close to the real Edadoya, that's when it's gonna pop up on your map and you're going to know which one to capture. So once she does pop up on your map, the best thing to do is quickly hog tie her, because as soon as she passes throughout that gate, it's going to get a lot more harder because that's where the enemies are and they're eventually going to start shooting at you. So if you can, try your best to get her before the gate, but if it happens to go past it like I did in this gameplay, you're just gonna have to quickly try to get her away from the enemies and try to capture her and get her on the back of your horse. Now once you start to get near the station, this is when the enemies will start to back down, so you don't really have to worry anymore. And from there, that's when you're gonna have to wait the 30 minutes. Now really what you should do is set the timer as soon as the mission starts. So as soon as the cutscene ends, that's when you should start your 30-minute timer on your phone or your computer or something like that, because for legendary bounties, there's no actual timer on the screen. So you're gonna have to set your own timer for 30 minutes. And once that 30 minutes is up, go ahead and deliver her, and that's when you get your payouts. Now when you're waiting between these 30 minutes, something that you could do is do something in real life, or if you want to in game is, do some collecting or some hunting or something like that just to help out with your other roles. Or if you want to just mess around and have fun, just make sure that the bounty target does not end up dying, because again, the payout is going to be complete trash. And once you eventually go on the 5-star difficulty, if a target ends up dying, you actually end up failing the mission, so make sure that definitely does not happen. Now there's also a cooldown for legendary bounties, so once you complete one, you have to wait an entire hour in real life in order to start the next one. So again, for payouts, you're going to be getting around like $225. For gold, it should be around like 48 gold nuggets, so about half a gold bar. And then for XP, it should be somewhere like in the thousands. It really just depends on like the enemies you kill and just overall like, how you perform on the mission. Now lastly, of course, we also have to talk about the role itself and how to level up. So of course, the more that you level up, the more things that you unlock in the role, as well as more role tokens that you do get. Again, the best thing to get for sure is the bounty wagon and also the reinforced lasso, but there could be some other things that you may want to get. So some other great things that you should definitely get that are in the bounty hunter role is the tracking arrow pamphlet, which is going to show you how to create tracking arrows. And then the bolas, which is basically just like a mini like lasso that you could throw at people and it's automatically going to tie them. They get tied for around like 15 to 30 seconds. And if you can't catch up to somebody, or if it's just, as multiple targets, this can be extremely useful, especially if you're doing it solo. And then also the provisions satchel upgrade, which makes you so that you can have more provisions in your pouch. So this is also something that's very useful as well. And then there's also some perks that do automatically get unlocked that you don't have to purchase, like for example Eagle Eye Plus. So I'd really recommend taking a look at the bounty hunter role for yourself and just seeing all the different types of like perks and also like items in the past and see which ones that you like. But for sure the ones that I recommended earlier are ones that you definitely should get. So I would say the best way to get XP is for sure just to do more bounties and also legendary bounties as well. And also the role challenges for the bounty hunter role is another great way too. And also if Rockstar is having any events that are happening where they're giving double or triple role XP, definitely check that out for sure. And specifically for this month, Rockstar is actually giving out triple role and character XP for player bounties. So that's pretty much all for this bounty hunter guide. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you have any questions, for sure let me know in the comment section below and I'll help you out. Overall, the bounty hunter is definitely one of the best roles in Red Dead Online, especially when it comes to making gold and money. And I think it's one of the most like interactive roles as well, because some of the other roles in Red Dead Online do pay good, but they're really boring and they also could take a lot of time. For example, like the trader role or the collector role. But the thing I like about the bounty hunter role for sure is that you're just always moving, you're always getting things done. You're shooting enemies, you're capturing people. It's just really like an overall fun and interactive role. And that's definitely why if you never had it before, this is definitely your chance to get started with it. But if you guys did enjoy this video though, or if you found it helpful, definitely drop a like. And if you want to see more, then make sure to be subscribed and put up post notifications. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.